I know that you do dancing and you do a lot of involvements with all day. Can you explain a little bit about like what you do all day and how does that help improve you as a dancer or as a community leader that I see?
Okay. All Day is actually Minnesota's first funk styles crew. So funk styles encompasses popping, locking, and nowadays people are arguing that whacking should also be in that category. But for the most part, funk styles is popping and locking. So um, All Day started back in 2012, and we kind of noticed when we were like coming up, like, hey, there's nobody else that really focuses on funk styles here, and the hype is all about breaking. So, and we practice together. We're all super cool with each other. We're close friends, so why not? So we became a crew, and so our part of our mission with All Day is we want to spread awareness of funk styles, at least directly here in Minnesota. And then outside of Minnesota, we want people to know that, hey, we do rep funk styles here too. So it's about putting Minnesota on the map.
So then when you were mentioning about funk style, why is that style or that particular dance part of you, and then what made you become a dancer from learning all that?
So um, I just have a really simple answer to that. It's because I saw it and I thought it was cool. And so I didn't know, when I first saw it, that it was funk styles, that it was popping.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I thought it was breakdancing. I showed up to a breakdancing class with B-boy Jason, and I was like, no, this is not what I want to learn. Like, we hit the floor, started doing floor work. I was like, nope, this isn't what I thought it was at all. And then when I learned that what it was, I was like, and then I started learning the foundation of the dance. I was like, wow, this, like, I like it even more. And movement has always been very natural to me. I'll watch other people dance and I can pick it up right away. But popping is the only dance form where I watch and I go, damn, it doesn't make sense. Like, how did they do that? Like, I want to know. I really want to know how they did that. So I think just that curiosity and the attention to detail keeps me interested. So from doing the show, my whole purpose, my whole mission of the show was to simply let people know what funk styles is. Because here, at least in the Twin Cities, metro area here, breaking is like everywhere. Like, and when I go out and I dance somewhere, people are like, oh, you're breakdancing. And I take pride in that I'm a popper, that I'm a funk stylist. So, I get offended. I'm like, no, I'm a popper. I'm a funk stylist, and they just kind of give me that confused look like, what is that? So with that first show, it really was about just, no, this is funk styles and it's not breaking. And that's why I put breaking in there to show the distinct difference between the two. Like, no, there really is a difference. So yeah, that's why I did it.
And also, I know that hip hop is also about sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge and experience as a dancer, and spreading that love to your own community and to other fellow dancers so they can progress themselves. So then, why do you think it's important to give back? It doesn't matter if you give back in experiences, knowledge, or giving back as in money or presence.
I give back because, one, I am passionate about my community. I grew up here, so I love it. Like, this is, and I've never lived anywhere else. So this is what I know, and I want to see my community's growth and progression for the betterment of everyone, for the community. And I give back because I feel that we all have something to offer. We all can learn from each other, whether it's something big or small. So those are the main reasons why I give back.
All right, awesome.
What keeps me moving forward is simply because this is who I am. This is me living my truth. This is, like, if I did not dance, I would not be Tracy. That's how deep I feel about it. Like it's who I am. It's my spirit. It's my soul. So, um, and I realized this when I was very young, and it was just such a deep spiritual feeling for me that I never forgot it, and just throughout my life so far, I've just really fought to keep it. And um, my advice and how I just balance it all is really just make time for it. You just have to make time for it. And of course, as you become an adult, it gets harder and harder because you have more responsibilities. But if it was important to you, if you valued it, you would make time for it. So, I there's several times where I'll sacrifice sleep just to be able to do what I want to do. So I'll be like, oh, I got to bed kind of late, but kind of want to get some dancing in. So, I know there's a practice here. I'm gonna be tired as hell, but hey, I gotta go. So, because I want to do it. So.
Okay, so with that being said, has there been certain times in your life where you wanted to quit?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And for me, I've come to learn that my dancing is very tied to my emotional state of being. So if I'm feeling sad, um, then yeah, I'll be like, oh, if I fall into that. Instead of what I've learned to do now is, if you're like if you're in a bad mood, it's very easy to just keep going downward, right? And you hit till you hit a low, your low lows. And there were several moments um, in previous years where I'd be like, I feel crummy, and then I get to the state of depression, and then I just start thinking that everything is bad. Like, oh man, my whole life is horrible. I'm nothing. So, and I'm not even that good. So let me just not do it. But now, it's not about what people think. It's not about why people say I should do it. It's about me and why I do it and why I want to do it, So there has been times in which I wanted to quit. And it was all for various reasons. It was either, emotional state of being or economically at the time, like, it's the hustle, man. It's the hustle.
For sure, I get it. Realize that this is who you are, and this is kind of something that you want to continue doing. So, for future people who meet you, they can kind of follow the same path, or maybe even approach you and ask you more questions than I can.
Yeah. So my exposure to, I guess, like the original forms of hip hop dance was, not gonna lie, was actually K-pop, Korean pop music. The era in which I was really into Korean pop music, they did all that. They did breaking moves. They did popping. They did locking. They did all of that. It was very normal to see that in their dance choreography. And I just watched them, and I was mimicking these movements without even really knowing what it was. And then, I think just watching dance movies more and more, you're like, oh, that's breakdancing. So then I called it breakdancing. And then when in my family growing up, it was very discouraged of me to, pursue anything artistically, because it was, oh, you can never make money from your art. You can never, and especially because you're a woman. So, women don't do those kinds of things. It's not proper for a woman to put themselves out there like that. But when I was 18, I was like, well, I can kind of do whatever I want. So then I kind of prepared for that. So when I was still 17, a few months prior to turning 18, I researched I went to Google and I was just like, hip hop dance classes, Minneapolis, and Xenon Dance School in downtown Minneapolis, which is now at the Cole Center or the Hennepin Arts Building. And, went to there because I was like, I want to get better, and the only way I can get better is if I connected with other dancers. And I learned more because I know that I don't know everything, and I want to know everything that there is about this. And I went to the showed up to class, and like I said, it was B-Boy Jason, beginning breakdance, and they were, I didn't know it at the time, but they were like 3 weeks into their session. So by that time, they were like, tops, get downs, and then quick, floor work. So my first day of class, I was like, oh my God, what is this? But I had a lot of fun, even though it was really challenging, and it was not what I was expecting. I remember being really sore the next day too. I was like, oh my God. And then Jason actually saw that I naturally was doing like popping movements. And then he was like, have you heard of a guy named Dancing Dave? And I was like, no. He was like, you should check out Dancing Dave. He's a popper. Because all those 3 weeks, Dave wasn't there. He had a substitute. But when I finally ran into his class, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what I want to learn. And like I said earlier, I ended up sticking to popping because it's a lot more difficult than people would think it is. It's a very internal form of dance versus compared to breaking. So, yeah.
All right, so I guess my last question, hopefully,
No worries.
would be, so now that you found out who you are and then you seeked out the knowledge, how would you say that along the journey that you come from the moment you figured out who you are and that this is the kind of style that you wanted to do, and as you pursued it, how do you feel like all of this has affected your life?
It has affected my life greatly. I think if I didn't, hang on to that feeling, that euphoric or spiritual feeling that I had, my life would be completely different. I think I'd be very, very, very unhappy. But yeah, and the amazing thing about dance is that it not only am I growing as a dancer, I'm growing as a person as I continue this journey. So I've learned so much from dance, not just about dance, but there's so many things I've gotten from dance that I apply to my life. Work ethic is definitely one of them. So
Very nice.
to be yourself. Fearlessly, shamelessly be yourself. Don't ever let anybody tell you